Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. How's everybody doing today? It looks like I'm a little bit over sample. Let me go ahead and fix my gain. It seems like I'm coming over very loud, so I am going to readjust my gain. Earlier I had to change it, and now I am adjusting the gain again. Let's see if that's a little bit better. I think that's a little bit better. Okay. How are my peeps doing? Uh, Great to see everybody here. Sorry about yesterday. I told a story this morning. I'll have to tell it again today why I wasn't here live yesterday. I had to throw on but I gave you a video that I hadn't played before with myself and El Senor Marlon Weems, where we discuss MLK Day, etc. But let me tell you what happened, guys. I was out getting everything together, and it turns out that I got a text that says, "Hey, Egberto, there are 30 people out here, and are you coming?" So pretty much she said to come, right? So I went out. I went ahead and programmed the computer to play that tape. Got all my gear together and ran out there to get a little bit of it. So later on, I'm going to show that after we get through some of the stuff with the fiasco, and that is what it was, the fiasco in Davos. I mean, if you didn't watch, by the way, I watched the entire thing. I could not have been more embarrassed as an American citizen to have that guy as the president of the United States. I could, let me ask those of you that are in the chat, any of you saw the president's speech at Davos today? Just tell me yes or no in the chat. I am curious. I want to see how many saw it because I want to know how far to go on this. Anyway, while you answer that, welcome aboard, El Senor. Patrick Magner is in the house. Patrick, how are you doing, my dear brother from Houston, Texas? We have Michael Rudden in the house. He says, I've been having a rough couple of days, not sure if cold, flu, or something else. Already have a doctor's appointment scheduled. See you tomorrow, maybe the day. And look, I hope you get better, Michael. I have this cold that has lasted now probably 3.5, 4 weeks. Well, I got over the worst part, but there's a consistent cough that remains. So there's this nasty thing that's going around. I don't think it's COVID. I don't think it's the flu. It is just one of those rhinoviruses, I think, that the body isn't quite used to yet. That's what I think it is. But anyhow, let's see. Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia is in the house. Joe from Los Angeles, California is in the house. Paul Fleming, my brother from another mother, is in Powder Springs, Georgia. Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. He said, framework deal done. Oh, you guys just love to believe Donald Trump. Donald Trump is backtracking because Donald Trump is a dummy. Donald Trump got played one more time as he tried to play somebody. When, I don't know if you guys remember what I said with Jenna Flanagan on the was it with Jenna Flanagan I said it, or in another program I said, if you want to challenge Trump, notice that Trump never tried to fight Nancy Pelosi. He never tried to challenge Nancy Pelosi. You know why? Trump is a paper tiger. Once you push back on Trump, he caves like a little puppet. He caves like a what do you got? Like a puppet like the strings popped from the puppet. And finally, Europe, instead of sucking his what, decided not to play the game. And, maybe they didn't play the game. Well, but first of all, I want to put what Donald Trump is doing or attempt to do into perspective. I love what Senator uh, I love what Senator Gutierrez, not Gutierrez, Ruben, what is his name? Bear with me 1 second. I want to get his name correctly. I want to get his name correctly. Okay, there you go. All right. Senator Ruben Gallego, a few days ago, went on to one of the morning shows, or actually, it wasn't a morning show. He went on to a program, one of the day show programs, and he called the president an idiot. And he said the reason the president is going after Greenland is because he is an idiot. We know there are several reasons, right? There are several reasons why the president is doing this. One, he wanted to get Epstein out of the way, get Epstein off of the air. So by having something as substantive as a war with Denmark or a war to conquer Greenland, he understands what the mainstream media is going to do. That's number one. Number two, he'd love to have a trophy that says, I brought more land to the United States, just like the guy who brought Alaska. I brought Greenland. You know how many other presidents wanted to buy Greenland? Well, I did it. He wanted a feather in his cap. And then he thought by putting a few holes into Venezuela that he could say, you see, look what I did to Venezuela, even though Venezuela so far continues to be a failure because the left-wing government in Venezuela remains, and they remain doing their thing as they're going to get more money from getting the oil sold, not having to do it on the black market where you lose a lot of money. So Gallego said it best. Remember, and I'm not going to preempt Gallego. I'm going to let Gallego say it himself, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
I want to turn to foreign policy because you've called President Trump an idiot for his push to take control of Greenland, and you've said that Congress can't take any chances of allowing that to happen. You've met with the foreign ministers of both Denmark and Greenland this past week. How are they reacting to President Trump's threats?
Look, they're shocked, and they're trying to find reason within what's happening here. And I tried to explain to them there is no reasoning. Right. The president just wants to have a legacy piece where he gets to claim that he brought in this big chunk of land that he sees on the map, even though it's, distorted map. And he's willing to ruin our whole foreign policy, all of our alliances, our economy, just so he could get what he wants. This man is doing everything for himself and nothing for us. Even the idea of buying it. We're going to spend billions and billions of dollars, potentially $500 billion, which is never going to happen. But right now we can't even afford health insurance for U.S. citizens, and we're talking about buying land. And let me just say one more time, Denmark, the Kingdom of Denmark and Greenland has said, we will give you everything you want short of giving you possession of our land. You want more bases, you get more bases. You want to put more people, you get it. The idea that we're going to waste money for everything we want is the dumbest decision we can make. The only person who can make a decision this dumb is someone that would actually let a casino go under. And guess who's president right now?
And guess who's president right now? The guy who got a casino to go down. Who loses a casino? Who loses? Donald Trump. Bankrupt a casino. Bankrupt an airline. He bankrupts everything. In fact, he went bankrupt so many times. But again, privilege is a great thing. Privilege is a great thing because nobody that is such a terrible business person can come back from serial bankruptcies like this guy can, right? So Gallego pointed out, yes, he's an idiot. And what he's trying to do by destroying our international relationships, prove that he's an idiot. But I want to go a little bit further because it's not just that Donald Trump is a dummy, an idiot, a troglodyte, and all of those characteristics. And I'm not being mean. Those are classic definitions of who this guy is. Well, it turns out that Patrick also says that he's showing, and Patrick understands the concept because he's had it within, he knows about this. He said that Donald Trump is, in fact, showing levels of dementia. Okay, but let's park that for a while because even before dementia, Donald Trump was a very evil person. But let's look at who I consider the biggest villain in this entire thing. Gallego is right. A person who could bankrupt a casino, how the hell do you make them in charge of a country? And that is why the checks and balances from Congress and the Supreme Court were so important. And if you want to blame somebody for having destroyed the world order as we knew it, you have to go to the Republican Congress and the Republican Supreme Court that gave him immunity and that allowed him to do as he pleases. And what did he get? What he's done is he's put Europe among themselves much closer together. And let me tell you, the GDP of all of Europe, those that are going to work together, is larger than that of the United States. So what you have done is you have put several people that will work in concert against you because they're going to say we can no longer appease the United States. We are going to have to invest in ourselves. And that's what Europe is doing now. They're investing in themselves and they are forgetting about the alliances that United States would say we prefer you not work with China. We prefer you not work with Bangladesh or whatever. What is going to happen now is they will do it on their own. Listen to what the President Carney of Canada said. This is a new beginning. It's an explosion. It's an implosion. Donald Trump caused that. And now the entire United States is going to pay for it. And how are we going to pay for it? Well, there will be new alliances between Canada and other countries, which means that we no longer get preferential lumber. We no longer get preferential oil. Other countries want that just as well. China, the biggest market there is out there and growing. When it comes to the European Union, where they were in concert with us to slow down China's great developments, instead of buying all these things from the United States, they have a new market in China. No longer do they have the restrictions that the United States have on China because the United States controls SWIFT. That's an interchange that we use to move monies among countries. Donald Trump has opened the door to speed up the development of BRICS and any alternative that Europe will come up with to BRICS. And the problem is very few people understand the seriousness of what we're talking about now, where you lose all your leverage, all of your leverage. And that's because, again, Donald Trump, who under the auspices of the billionaires that are supporting him, because remember, Donald Trump is too dumb to understand all of this. But guess what the billionaires don't care about? They have the United States market, and they have other markets that they would still be able to work into because their market is virtual. And they don't mind losing Europe. Why don't they mind using Europe? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all these other things, they are very much regulated in Europe. There are a lot of things they would like to do that they can't in Europe because of restrictive laws to protect your privacy, restricted laws to prevent what you can do with children. Look at the law that Australia just passed I think it was Australia or New Zealand, just passed that says 16-year-olds can't use Twitter or can't use Instagram anymore, social media anymore. So they made the calculation, look, let's just own the United States. We'll still have a huge market. And with that, we destroy everything else, other relationship. We have to remember billionaires, not because they have a billion, mean they're smart, or do they have deep lookings into the future? They're not very smart. Musk is not a smart guy at all. They have a lot of money because they're capitalists, but they're not very smart. I try to point this out to people over and again. The billionaires in America are not all that smart. What they are is proof positive that capitalism is extractive. And if you are willing to follow the laws of capitalism and you are cutthroat enough, you can be wealthy. Let's look at the top billionaires. Look at the Walmarts. What are they? They build stores, they sell grocery stores, they do all that kind of stuff, but it does not require that the person who are going to maximize the benefits from that endeavor be smart. The Walmarts aren't all that smart. And what Lynette says is absolutely the answer. They do hire smart people, but the smart people don't get rich. So when they tell you that capitalism is necessary because without capitalism you will lose innovation, that's BS, because the innovators are not the billionaires. The billionaires hire the innovators. And LBW speaking about generational wealth is apropos as well. Look, this isn't wealth envy. This isn't any kind of envy. This is just reality. Capitalism is extractive, that's parasitic and makes its money on the backs of others. You know, it's funny because even Martin Luther King understood that at the end of his life. And, you know, like I said, I'm not into conspiracies, but it would not at all surprise me that a part of what happened with Martin Luther King, when Martin Luther King came out against capitalism, when he came out against militarism, when he came out against all these things, you know, his life was cut short. Again, I'm just saying. But anyhow, before we move on any further, I want to give kudos to, well, no, I better stick with Greenland for a bit longer because I want to play for you Gavin Newsom. You kind of wonder if the European folks didn't listen to Gavin Newsom and said, wow, well, maybe we really need to toughen up. And in doing so, they won because we have Donald Trump backtracking. Now there is some sort of a deal. When he was asked, when Kernan asked him, does that mean we can own Greenland? We're not going to talk about it. The loser lost. I repeat, the loser went to Davos and lost. Yet another loss. Let's go ahead and play this one here, and then we'll take it on the other side. It has been pathetic over the last several months since Donald Trump gained his power back as president of the United States to watch how foreign leaders attempt to appease him, by giving him golden crowns or giving him a wannabe leader, giving him her Nobel Peace Prize, others succumbing to him or simply saying, oh, Mr. President, that was a great job you did in Gaza. Of course, it was a terrible job because he actually was complicit in a genocide. And when he talks about, oh, yes, you solved 8 wars, and instead of them saying, no, sir, you didn't, they simply appease him with them sending him text messages, etc. That's why it was great to see what Gavin Newsom had to say out there at Davos, where the president is going to be subsequently. He's telling Europe, you guys better spine up. Just like our Congress need to spine up, you guys better spine up. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Do you have a message for Europeans who are concerned about the messages from the White House around Greenland this week?
Yeah, it's time to buck up. It's time to get serious and stop being complicit. It's time to stand tall and firm, have a backbone. I've seen this in the United States, the supine Congress playing both sides, saying one thing on a text or a tweet and another publicly. It's time to have principles. It's time to stand tall and strong. It's time to stand united. You make that determination. I don't make that determination.
When you say standing
collectively, I can't take this complicity. People rolling over. I should have brought a bunch of knee pads for all the world leaders. I mean, handing out crowns and this is pathetic. Nobel Prizes that are being given away. It's just pathetic. And I hope people understand how pathetic they look on the world stage. At least from an American perspective, it's embarrassing.
Now, I am not a fan of Gavin Newsom. If Gavin Newsom were to become the candidate for the Democratic Party, you'll have my vote. I am hoping to get a real progressive, a populist that America really wants and need to really be that person. But, performative wise, I think he's doing a good job. What he did in Davos, bucking the president, I think showed the rest of the world that, Donald Trump, maybe they succumb to him, but here we have Democratic governors that won't. Look, to save America, we need to make sure that this guy's put in his place. And the European, if they know what's good for the world, it is time for them to stand up. There's one good thing about Donald Trump. Notice Donald Trump never messed with Nancy Pelosi. Notice Donald Trump never messed with anybody who shows him unadulterated not fear. In other words, they don't fear him. And that's the biggest thing he fears when he's not feared. And that's where the rest of the world should be, because Donald Trump isn't one that should be feared because he's dumb, because he's not very smart, because he knows very little, and because he's simply incompetent. Because he's simply incompetent. Because he's simply incompetent. Martin Luther King's Day was on Monday, and a lot of people, the picture that we have of Martin Luther King today, and I think I mentioned that in the program that you saw yesterday that was pre-taped. I saw a TikTok yesterday that I wanted to bring to all of you, because it turns out that when you listen to Martin Luther King, there are a lot of Democrats, when I say certain things about capitalism, they're like, oh, don't be so loud on it. I agree with you. But remember, America is a capitalist country. No, America is not a capitalist country. America is run by capitalism because the people with a voice are the ones who push it. But the people of honor, the people of morality, understand that it's an extractive parasitic system and that we can do a lot better. We can do a lot better. So I got to see that. I didn't see that one, Patrick. Did I respond to that? I don't think I saw that. But anyway, I want to play this clip for you guys so that you can see what who Martin Luther King really, really was.
Politicians posting today. Number 1. Here are 5 MLK quotes that you won't see politicians posting today. Number 1. Capitalism has outlived its usefulness. This country has socialism for the rich, rugged individualism for the poor. Number 2. We must see now that the evils of racism, economic exploitation, and militarism are all tied together. You can't get rid of one without getting rid of the others. Number 3. We have deluded ourselves into believing the myth that capitalism grew and prospered out of the Protestant ethic of hard work and sacrifices. The fact is that capitalism was built on the exploitation and suffering of Black slaves and continues to thrive on the exploitation of the poor, both Black and white, both here and abroad. Number 4. I am now convinced that the simplest approach will prove to be the most effective. The solution to poverty is to abolish it directly by a now widely discussed measure, the guaranteed income. And number 5, a nation that feels it can solve its problems only by building up military defenses and going to war is ultimately a nation approaching spiritual death. America must learn that to gain the world and lose its soul is the greatest of all dangers.
Exactly. And I'd like to know, did anybody see any of those quotes? I can almost guarantee you wouldn't see it, because you can't have such an honored American who pretty much says your economic system is a fraud. And what I found ironic, because until I went and read up a few things, it's amazing how one comes to the same conclusion when you analyze how the economic system actually functions and why it functions the way it is. You all have heard me say many times that racism, sexism, and all the isms are necessary. All the isms are necessary in order for there to be for capitalism to work, because capitalism is such a corrosive system that you have to be built on lies, you have to be built on all these other things so that others don't really go for the jugular as far as what's causing them ill. And that's what it's all about. So what we do, we have, and now that we are in what Dr. Professor Economist Richard Wolff and many others would tell you, now that we are at end stage capitalism, we have to increase the hate. We have to increase the fear. We have to increase all these things. All these things have got to be increased in order to give this system a tiny bit more time. A tiny bit more time. Don says he's a martyr, the capitalist bogeyman. Well, I'm not sure if I follow what you mean. I'd love for you to kind of tell me a little bit more about that. Anyway, let me tell you guys, like I told you, when I started the program, or rather the reason I didn't have the program yesterday, I just sent it from Twitch. Hey, is it possible for you to send it to our Facebook, not the Facebook, to the message, and then I can pull it up directly on the computer and then show it. Anyhow, let's see. Yesterday when they gave me a call and said, hey, the people are out there, I decided to go. I think I explained it in the video. So let me go ahead and play that video for you, and then we'll continue on the other side.
Hey, Vicky. Hey! You just happened to text me a few minutes ago and told me that you guys brought a big crowd out here.
We got them.
I didn't expect the crowd. I was about to start my show. And what did I tell you?
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way. When Vicky calls, we show.
And Bertone listens.
There you go.
Yes, indeed. We were not expecting this many. We honestly thought we'd have 15 or 20. We've had 35 plus. The number keeps changing.
And this was just arranged.
Yep.
This was just arranged.
It's another one of those last minute
so
things.
Tell my audience, what do I tell them tomorrow morning on KPFT?
You tell them tomorrow morning on KPFT that Kingwood is against fascism. Kingwood is against the government that is taking our rights away, and we need to take care of ourselves. This is how we're telling Kingwood we are behind freedom. This is free America.
Let me tell you something, Vicky. This morning on my show, I said the people that are showing up, the people that are making a difference are the women. And then I come out here and look at what I see.
You see a bunch of
a few men, but mostly women. You guys are the ones that are going to turn this thing around.
That's right.
Have you noticed what color our hair is?
What? Oh, wait. Are you trying to tell me women of a certain age?
You betcha.
Is that what you're trying to tell me?
We've done this before.
Okay. Well, let me tell you. You did it with the ERA, and you're doing it again.
That's right.
Close her out, Vicky.
Thank you very, very much, Alberto.
Christina, just out here again because it's been a year since Trump has taken office and we've seen how quickly things have taken the wrong turn. And just out here again, just being consistent with our protesting because that's what it's going to take for people like Trump, Crenshaw to hear us.
Linda, I'm becoming so sad and depressed by all the horrors of every day in our country. I don't even recognize who we are. What are our values?
I'm here because this government that we have right now is ruining our country, losing our democracy. It's never seen anything like this in my life. None of us have. And we knew it would be bad. We had no idea it'd be this bad, and it's only getting worse.
My name is Allison Chapin. We got to do something in this country to make things right because the majority of us agree on a lot of stuff, and we just need to get this regime out.
I'm Andi. I'm here because every day I wake up and I'm wondering if World War III is starting. I'm so done. I really hope that this makes a change. My name is Amber. I'm here because I am tired too. When I was little, we were told in school, that America's the best, that we were a place of freedom and that we were everybody came here, everybody wants to be here, everybody, from all walks of life, no matter what color your skin is, no matter who you are, no matter who you love, you can come here and you can be happy. And it's a place of new beginnings. And I'm looking around and I'm like, why are we persecuting these people who came to the place that our forefathers came to for freedom? It just doesn't make sense. Like my mom, she supports Trump but she's Canadian. She came here illegally and then she married and she got legal later. And I'm just like, how can you support a man like that?
Cindy, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Hey, let me tell you, I was about to start my show at 3 o'clock. About 2:30, I get a text from Vicky. She says, Cindy says to send you a text.
Right.
And then I said, well, no problem. She said, there are over 30 people showing up here. You guys continue to exceed expectation because after that, even more showed up.
Well, I got a count of 37, I think, but we might have got up to 40.
You did this rather quick, just like you did the
ice out.
Right.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, like I was explaining to Vicky earlier, what I'm starting to see is not only the showing up, but how the women are making a difference in this movement.
Of course. I don't know what is wrong with men. They just don't seem to come out. We have a few
right now
are regular.
But let me tell you where I'm coming from, because I spoke about it this morning on my show. The Republican side of Congress, who should be checking Trump right now, made up of men.
Primarily,
and all of them are sitting with their tails between their legs.
They are.
But look at the particular Republican women who finally decided to stand up to Trump. 4 women.
Well, let's hope they do. Let's hope they stay there, because I don't trust them. They've proven in the past that they can't hold the line, and I'm a little concerned about that. I had a conversation in the grocery store with my former pastor's wife, and I asked her why the faith leaders were not getting out and speaking up.
Now, what did she say?
I told her, I said, look, the Episcopalians have already made a stand. The Catholics are making a stand. We've got hundreds of churches out here and nobody's saying anything. She did not really respond. Right. I said, I want you to go home and talk to him about this, because it's very important. And what are you going to do when ICE shows up at church and hauls out your congregation? Is this okay? She couldn't answer me.
She had to be embarrassed, because I
think she was shocked. And I said, we cannot have this white Christian nationalism.
Right.
This is not what Jesus does. Jesus flipped tables for less. She asked me why I don't go to church. I said, because it's full of people like that and I can't do it. And I said, besides, I don't need to go because I will be judged on my deed.
The evangelical church specifically, it's not all churches. The Catholic Church came out with a new pope.
Evangelical churches. Yeah. What is wrong with them?
I think what they've shown is they've shown that the same methodology that they used during slavery to keep is the same thing they're doing.
That's what I'm
now.
wondering, because I told her, I said, I can go across the river to the Luke Church, and I bet I can get those black pastors to work with me. I don't know. I'm out here ringing my bell, wearing my signs. We'll be out every week
what can I say?
But
We're
you know
not
what?
stopping.
You're off schedule because of
We are
today.
off schedule. Let's get off the couch, people, and get outside and make some noise. Show people you're brave so they can also follow through.
Cindy Hendrickson, leader of Indivisible Kingwood. Hey, look, thank you for what you do, and you keep doing this because this is making a difference.
It is absolutely making a difference. And by the way, hey, welcome, Bruce. How you doing, my brother? And E2247 says, Egberto, I also have stood alone on a corner that is resistance and actually effective as people stop to talk with you. I did that. Let me give you a little funny thing. We did Occupy. Remember, I was a part of Occupy Houston. And I actually flew across the country to Occupy Baltimore, Occupy Washington, D.C., Occupy San Diego, Occupy, what's that place in Delaware? I went around to all the different Occupies, right? And then we decided here in Kingwood to have what we called a weekly Occupy. So we created Occupy Kingwood, and I should have, a lot of those links are broken on my website. I got to fix that. But we had Occupy Kingwood, and we did it every week. And whether it was rain, cold, storm, or whatever, we would be at the intersection of Kingwood Drive and Lake Houston Boulevard. And I remember one day it was storming. And, my wife got up and she's like, "You're not going today, right?" I'm like, "Baby, I got to go." We said 52 consecutive weeks. And then I asked her to drive with me, and we took 2 cars. But what I needed her to video me in the rain. Actually, I was kind of crazy because there was some thunder in the cold rain, videoing me so that we could have the stuff that says we did it for 52 consecutive weeks. And she videoed me in the parking lot. I then went ahead. I had all the signs in my car. And every day I would get there early to put the signs up along the entire corner, right? It's probably like 10, 20 signs around actually, it was more like 20 signs around the corner. And I put all the signs up there in the corner. And then I stayed right there behind that little false wall that they have at the corner of Kingwood Drive and Lake Houston Boulevard. And I stood there alone for about, 45 minutes. And suddenly, people started coming. And not only people, but some of the regulars that would come out there, they started coming and staying out there with me. I can't tell you. When I spoke to Vicky and Cindy yesterday, what I told them is why it is so important that no matter how many of them are out there, that they go out there and make the presence known. Is that there are many people out there that want to do something, but they can't get it started, or they think they are alone, or they think, and just having somebody who goes out there and start it and do it, you get that avalanche that eventually happens. The snowball keeps building and building and building. So those of you that are listening to me right now, you guys are the Mavericks, right? Shows that are not trying to be flashy, that are just, they're giving some truths, are not the most popular shows or anything like that, right? I mean, because you're not trying to do things to got you or anything like that. You're just trying to educate, inform. That is what it's all about, folks. But you guys are the Mavericks to go out there and spread the message. Go out there and say the word, right? Because once you get somebody started, you can move on and on and on. My brother has a video, and I saw this video. This is great. This I think this shows a big part of his dementia. Let me go ahead and put it on for you guys. Thank you for that, Brother Patrick. Let's go ahead and do that ahorita mismo para ver cómo lo comienzo ahora. Here we go. Here we go.
Here's the book on accomplishments. And this is something, I'm glad my finger wasn't in that sucker. They could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain. I would have gone back. What, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger fell off. That was a nasty. I think somebody did that. I think it was him. It was my man. How were you? You didn't do it. I know you did. I know you didn't. So, but here's the book. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. Look, we have the hottest country in the world. So, I will read you a few.
But yeah, that Gallego was, I don't call out names like idiot and stupid and that kind of stuff often. But I can't find the proper way to address the president other than, I remember back in the day, we used to have this joke where we would say, what's the name of the town? Not, not, what's the name of the town that George Bush moved to? It's it's right here in Central Texas, man. I can't remember the name. It's in Central Texas, but we would say like, "Hey, the town has lost its resident idiot," and that was a big joke then, right? But it was just that President George Bush wasn't very smart, and but all in all, he wasn't a bad guy, you know. He wasn't. It wasn't too bad. But my God, Donald Trump put the IDIOT in idiot. I mean, I think when you see the way he performs and the things that he said, the hour and 40 minutes or however long he did at Davos, it all but told the rest of the world that this guy is sick, mentally ill. And they don't have to do anything because they all know that an inconsistent buffoon like this guy, whatever comes out of his mouth or whatever policy means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So anyway, folks, I am taking calls if anybody want to call. We're early, and I exhausted the 3 videos that I wanted, which the telephone number 281-823-7747. Would love to hear from some of you. Telephone number 281-823-7747. Para los que hablan español, si me quieren llamar, me pueden llamar en el 281-823-7747. Es del 281-823-7747. Give me a call if you have anything to add to this, or I can move on to another subject. But I'd love to hear somebody call me at 281-823-7747. All right, there's a piece on common dreams that I want to touch to as well. I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up right now. If I can find it, I will be able to get to it. But it was written by a friend of mine, and I kind of touched on it this morning, but I wasn't able to go as far into it this morning as I would have loved to do. So I am looking for it right now as we speak, but I cannot find it. I cannot find it. I know he sent it to me as well. He posted it at Common Dreams, and then he sent it to me, but I don't have it up on the screen right now. Let me go ahead and find it. I know what I'm going to do. I know how to find it. Just put his name in there. That's all I got to do. That's all I got to do. That's all I've got to do. Okay, let's see what can I do here. Fury grows over. Is that the one? July 19th? Yep, I think that is the one. That is the one. All right, here it is. That's the one. Let me read pieces of it for you, because I think for those of us that are voting in the Democratic primaries, we have a lot of work to do. Here's what it says. Fury grows over Democratic complacency in face of looming war of choice. That's not the article. The article that I want is from Norman Solomon. That's not Norman Solomon. Come on. It had a similar title. Forgive me, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not ready. Was a long day. Was doing a lot of writing. My new book I hope to release in a couple weeks. And you know how that goes when you're working on your book and everything kind of merges into each other. Oh, God. Lo creía que lo encontré, pero me parece que no lo tengo ahora. Déjame ver. Okay, I found it. Got it. I found it. There we go. There we go. The title of the show is Ending GOP Authoritarianism Will Require Overcoming the Democratic Leadership. Okay, Democratic leadership. The past year has completely discredited any claim that choosing between the Democratic and Republican parties would be merely a matter of pick your poison with the same end result. In countless terrible ways, the last 12 months have shown that Donald Trump's party is bent on methodically inflicting vast cruelty and injustice while aiming to crush what the left's democracy and the rule of law. It's not hard to see that, right? You just have to see how that kid that they choke almost choked to death. Harry Denson, talk to me. What's up?
Well, I'm glad you went out to that rally yesterday, and I enjoyed your show with Marlon Weems, the stock investment guy. You know,
Yeah.
he has a lot of knowledgeable things to say about that. But what I mainly called about is you've been talking about convict Trump with his speech in Davos. If we can have a blue landslide with the House of Representatives and the Senate falling back in charge of the Democrats, they need to do the articles, petition for impeachment, obviously with the new Congress in January of 2027, and not only remove Trump, but remove J.D. Vance, because then Hakeem Jeffries would become the acting president, a Democrat. What do you think about that?
Now, in following the rules in the Constitution, that is exactly what would happen, right? But here's the reality. The reality is impeachment is only the first part. The second part is conviction. And since we are unlikely, we are unlikely to win 67 votes in the Senate, we probably cannot convict the guy in the Senate. We can impeach him, which I think we should impeach him. But as far as being able to convict him, I don't think we can. But the way we have to impeach him, in my humble opinion as well, my brother, is that we have to get a lot done at the same time that we are impeaching. In other words, we have to show progress. And the fact of it is while he's still president, it's him who has to sign bills, and it's the Senate who has to also be in concert. Let me tell you what I'm hoping for. I am hoping that we get the Senate and the House, and then we go ahead and we blow up the filibuster, get rid of the filibuster. There's nothing constitutional about the filibuster. I repeat, there is absolutely nothing constitutional about the filibuster. Blow it up, and then after we blow up this filibuster, put some more Supreme Court justices on the court. The Republicans use a lot of bad faith to take control of the country. We have to use the same methodologies that they use to take back control and bring honor back to the United States of America. Thank you very much for your call, my brother Harris.
The only thing I worry about with your logic on the filibuster is if the Republicans ever get back in control, then you won't have the filibuster to block them.
But
that's what I worry about with that.
They don't let the filibuster block them. They change the filibuster one bite at a time. In other words, they needed a Supreme Court justice. They changed the filibuster for that. They needed to get some military guys passed. They change the filibuster. They change it as you go. We need to do the same thing. So anyway, thank you, my brother. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
See you tomorrow morning on KPFT show. All right. Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you, brother. All right, folks. Continuing with the with authoritarianism. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party's leadership persists with the kind of elitist political approach that helped Trump win in 2024. My good friend Glenn Ryan, who calls in the who types in the morning, he is absolutely right on that. He's absolutely right. We could have won 2024 if we were progressive enough, if we could have told America your health care would be taken care of. Instead, we allowed Donald Trump, just like he did in 2016, to triangulate. I wrote about that at Daily Kos back in 2016, that Donald Trump was triangulating Democrats. And he did it again. He did it again. So, yes, hidebound and unimaginative Senate Leader Chuck Schumer and House Leader Hakeem Jeffries have been incapable of inspiring the people whose high turnout votes will be essential to ending Republican control of Congress and the White House and the Senate. If you want to see what strong progressive values and caring about people will do for you, you just have to step into New York. And I don't want people to look at New York and say, well, New York is a liberal state. New York City is a liberal city. BS. Let's remind people it wasn't long ago that Pataki was the governor of New York, a Republican. It wasn't long ago that Bloomberg was the mayor of New York, a Republican at the time. Let's be very clear here. Mamdani didn't only win New York. He won it with all the headwinds. He won it by talking to the people. He won it by presenting programs that solves people's problems. He won it even as Donald Trump endorsed his opponent, and monies came from Bloomberg and everybody else to support the child of a former governor of New York and a former governor himself of New York. He had all the money he needed, and he also had a Republican opponent. And did he win by less than the majority? No. With all the headwinds, he still brought in new people into the fold and won. Won with over 50% of the vote. So they can't say that this guy, who in as much as he had the headwinds, in as much as he had to overcome the racist barrier from being a Muslim, he had to overcome all of that, and he still won. And why did he win? Because he wasn't providing the message that Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer are out there doing, scared of giving people and telling people, I will work to give you the policies that you want. And if you go out there and tell people, I am going to get your rent taken care of so that you can afford it, you will win. If you go out there and say, I am going to get your health care taken care of so that you're not going to go bankrupt anymore, and to hell with these health insurance companies that have Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer by the pelotas, to hell with them. We are going to go around them. Medicare for all is next. Basic income is next. If you go out there and be unapologetic with progressivism, because at least 70% of Americans want these policies because they are in dire straits. More than 60% of Americans cannot live if they have a $500 bill that shows up. So, folks, let me just tell you, I'm not going to read the rest of the article. I'm just going to point out that the ball is in your hands. Like I told Cindy and Vicky yesterday, the ball is all in our hands, right? It's what we do going forward. It's what they are doing every week on the streets. It's what we do when it shows up. Let me give a good example. Right now in the 18th district to replace Sylvester Turner after he died, and also the former Lee, who was the Jackson Lee, who was the holder of that office. What happened then? I am reading from Common Dreams, Lynette, commondreams.com or commondreams.org. Anyway, again, there's this election right now for District 18. We have two candidates. One is I consider both of them moderates. They're young, but they're moderates. I've interviewed one of them, Amanda Edwards. Amanda Edwards would not come out and say straight out that she supports Medicare for all or single payer health care. I have not interviewed Christian Menifee yet, but you know what? Because of redistricting, we have Al Green that is going to go into that race because they redistricted it into his district. So now, after either Christian Menifee or Amanda Edwards get elected, one of them will be elected. The year after, there will be an election again. And that one will be joined by Al Green. What do you think I'm going to do? Al Green is a full-throated supporter of Medicare for all. He's a full-throated supporter for family leave. He's a full-loaded supporter for all those policies that his district needs. When that election comes around, I will interview Miss Edwards again. I will interview Menifee again. And I'll interview Al Green again. And I will get a definitive statement. Do you support single-payer Medicare for all or not? It's the only option that can take us out of our healthcare disaster. And whoever answers that question correctly, if it's only one, they'll have the entire support of Politics Done Right, and I will make sure to push it like no other. If more than one come up, well, I'll be supporting both. I can't take a position on that per se. But I think it is very, very important. It is very important that we take command of the primaries, because the primaries is where the action is. The primaries are where the actions are. Okay? Anyway, we're out of time. Thank you guys for being here. Love you all for being here. The other thing I have to ask is please support the program. If you are on Substack, please consider becoming a paid supporter. We need it badly to continue doing this. We're all over the place, and our newsletter, Egberto Off the Record, subsidizes everything. Okay? So I ask you so kindly, if you're on Substack, just click that subscribe button and become a paid subscriber. If you are on any other channel that you're listening to us through, please consider becoming a paid subscriber of our newsletter. And to do that, you simply go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I'm putting it in both chats right now. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Anyway, got to get out of here. My name is, love you all, first of all of you. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.